Hi Booktube, hi, good morning. At least it's morning from where I'm sitting. Welcome to my Booktube channel. I'm Shelly and I'm so glad you're here. I really am. Today we're going to be talking about books, as we do on my channel, and some books that I purchased recently. And these books that I purchased recently are actually heavily inspired by YouTube, and not just Steve Donahue, even though he has still been living in my head rent-free. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be doing a small haul of books, and they are all of them are inspired by somebody here on YouTube. I am going to be linking the channels below. It's going to be a small haul, and yeah, check out all of the channels I mentioned. They're all wonderful, and yeah, I guess that's it. Let's jump into the video. All right, so I have been scouring the used bookstores in the Central Valley of California for books that will pique my interest or have piqued my interest. And one bookstore that popped up was a small, sort of unusual bookstore called Tom's Used Books in Lodi, California. And this bookstore was really interesting. It was ran by a petite man. He was probably 5'5", 5'4", just very small in structure. He had these wired rim glasses that looked like they were from the 80s. I'll try and put a picture up. This is Tom from Tom's Bookstore, the owner of the bookstore. He had these wire rimmed glasses, and he was somewhere probably between his late 60s, easily in his 70s, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was somewhere in his early 70s. And he had this little gray hair that was combed over, and yeah, so he, when I went into this bookstore, he was so willing to help me, and he gave me a whole tour of the store. And as we were touring the store, there were actually like 5 cats running around in this store, and so it was his bookstore, almost home, and definitely a home for his cats. And so as I was browsing, I had cat friends coming up and checking in on me. I had Tom himself coming in and checking in on me and giving me some really good dad jokes as I read the shelves. And it was just such an enjoyable experience. It was one of those experiences that could have been written about in a book, with this quirky store owner and his 5 cats that all ran around as he told me dad jokes throughout the store. Okay, so that's the setting and the characters involved in my book haul. And but really the more important characters are the Booktubers. So the first book I found was a recommendation by Gina Stanier Books. She is a joy here on Booktube. She loves comfort, cozy reads, and I want to be one of those readers too. So she actually recommended Rosamund Pilcher, and yeah, and so I picked up Winter Solstice, and I thought it was really neat to find this little paperback copy, and just be one of those sweet little books that I dig into, hopefully this winter, because you got to read Winter Solstice in winter. And yeah, so I was really excited to find this, a recommendation again by Gina Stanier Books. The next recommendation was from Bob the Booker, and it's also a Pulitzer Prize winner. I think Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading mentioned it in her Pulitzer Prize series, but it is The Hours by Michael Cunningham. And this is a book that takes place over the course of one day. I looked inside and I was like, oh, that's not, this super dense text. Not that I'm scared of super dense text, but sometimes I'm wary of buying books that are too big because I may never get to it. But yeah, I got The Hours, and The Hours is going to be added to my list of Pulitzers that I own and have yet to read. That pile is getting quite shameful. But yeah, The Hours by Michael Cunningham. The video that Bob the Booker did about books that take place over the course of one day is awesome. I definitely recommend that you check it out, and I'll put a card somewhere, so that you have some easy access to it. Okay, so the next book is actually part my library knowledge and part Steve Donahue. So it is Bracebridge Hall by Washington Irving. And it was illustrated by, I think it's, Randolph Caldecott. I know his last name, Caldecott, but I was like, is it Rudolph or is it Randolph? I'm not sure. So Randolph Caldecott. The Caldecott Medal has been given out for a very long time, like 100 years or so, and it's a medal, it's an award for the best picture book illustrations of that year, of the picture book published that year. And so the Caldecott is named after Randolph Caldecott, and he is the person that has done the illustrations for this Irving book. Washington Irving is somebody that I have a small amount of familiarity with, but Steve Donahue mentioned him as one of Donahue's very favorite writers of all time. He said he has such personality. So I've actually been keeping an eye out for Irving's nonfiction, and I did come across his book on the history of New York and another book of a collection of short nonfiction writings, but they were a little bit expensive for me. Y'all know that I really don't like to pay a lot for books, and so I found this one, and it was $6, and it's a kid's book, and that's definitely more up my alley. And I'm gonna read this, and if I like it, I think I'm going to keep my eye out for some nonfiction books. Donahue said that if you spend a half hour with Irving, it would be very hard for you to walk away not liking him. So I was like, okay, that's some pretty high praise from Donahue. So yeah, I'm going to, and I thought, gosh, isn't this just such a cool little hardbound copy? And there are some, here's the inside flap. Here's the preface. All right, I'm gonna go settle an argument. The next book that I got was heavily inspired by A.J. Dunn. A.J. Dunn reads and writes. I noticed that they read a lot of Bildungsroman Roman books, coming of age stories, and the Bildungsroman Roman books that they have mentioned have also been some of mine. If I have read them, I've actually really loved the books. Like, we have the same type of enjoyment for the same Bildungsroman Roman books. So they recently read John Irving's The Cider House Rules, and my parents actually remembered when the movie came out, so I thought that was funny. But it's this large, chunky hardcover book with this beautiful cover. I mean, isn't this cover just absolutely gorgeous? There was a paperback version with a movie adaptation cover, and I was like, no. I saw this one and I was like, this has to come home with me. It's just too pretty to not come home. I mean, look how cool. This is just amazing. So I heard that this was a Bildungsroman Roman book. I'm gonna go into this as blind as possible because I really just love that type of story, and I wanna just go in not knowing much. And yeah, I'm hoping that it'll be really good. I have a feeling that I'll like it, because if AJ Dunn liked it, then I'll probably like it too. So my father-in-law, he gives me books from time to time, and he gave me this Peter Pan. He is a book and art collector of his own accord. So this is all shrink wrapped, and I'm wondering, I actually have to talk with him because I'm pretty sure it's either signed or has some special edition in it. And he gave not just me this, but for me and my boys, and I was really grateful. And then I had mentioned that I was really into Edward Gorey and the Ghastly Crumb Tinies. I think I said Ghastly Crumb Teenies, and it's so easy because I want to say, you know, they're like martinis. They're Ghastly Crumb Teenies. Anyways, but it's actually Ghastly Crumb Tinies. I'm gonna stop saying that. I don't know why I keep saying it over and over. So I told my father-in-law how much I love Gorey's work, and he found this one for me, The Haunted Tea Cozy, and it's written and illustrated by Gorey. So I have another Gorey book to add to my collection, which I am so excited about. And there's actually a biography on Gorey that looks so cool that I would love to pick up. I might get that from my library, or maybe I'll listen to it. And so here are some illustrations. And yeah, it's just so, y'all, I am so blessed. I'm so privileged to have people in my life that love me and that know about my weird and unusual love for books, and that support it wholeheartedly by giving me books like this. I mean, how great is this? So yeah, I sometimes feel like I'm the luckiest girl on earth. Do y'all ever feel that way? Let me know. Okay, well that's it. That's my mini haul, heavily Booktube inspired. And yeah, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.